Stage 3 is the second all-new stage at 110 kilometres, the longest of the week, with two tough climbs on the way to the finish in the Slieve Bloom Mountains. Connie Hayes of Liv AWOL Spoked raced clear in the early stages, trying to open a gap on the rest ahead of the climb of Wolf Trap Mountain. While the bunch closed down, the British rider, the Jaden Weltite squad close to the front and ever vigilant as the large pack assembled, and indeed it was a Jaden Weltite rider, Sophie Enver, who was next to try her luck. Her time out front was relatively short-lived as Backstead, Gallagher and the rest of the favourites assembled close to the front of the peloton. Ellen McDermott decided to try her luck out front as well. The Nord Holland rider, the Irish Criterium champion, racing clear as the gradient started to grip and the early moments of the Wolf Trap Mountain beckoning. She also, in turn, was drawn back into the fold by the pack, and next move out front came from Molly Patch of the Brother UK Fusion Racing team, and her strength carried her clear of the field by some considerable distance, and she would be first over the top of the first Category 1 ascent of Rostamon 2019. And Backstead next over the line, adding to her points total, drawing herself clear, albeit by a narrow margin, from Natalie Grinser in their scrap for honours. Molly Patch continued to race down the descent, heading towards the final climb of the day in the cut in County Laois, and she was dragged back into the group, which had swelled in size on the descent, with Backstead close to the front. Rider from the Story Racing squad wearing the Wicklow 200 Mountains jersey, and the points jersey on the shoulders of Claire Steels of Brother UK. The Team GB squad close to the front, as you might expect. They had strength in numbers. Alice Sharp wearing the JustSprint.ie Stages jersey, also staying close to the front. And what about Molly Patch? Having been drawn back, she set the tempo, heading towards the final climb of the day, trying to ensure that Claire Steels was in prime position ahead of the climb. And indeed it was Steels that went to the front as the gradient started to really test the legs, and stayed on the front pretty much through to the end. And indeed it was Maeve Gallagher, as you see in the green, really fighting to try and stay in the wheel of the magenta jersey of overall race leader Josie Knight. A select group at the front. Grinser also trying to make everyone suffer, and they're starting to distance the mountain's leader Eleanor Backstead, as Maeve Gallagher at the back of the group here, just trying to hang on. Shackley just in front. In front of her again, Grinser, and the magenta jersey of the overall race leader stalking Claire Steels.
Obviously, I've played the race back so many times in my head, and looking back at the sort of the highlights, I'm like, oh, I spent an awful lot of time on the front on that stage and on that climb. But she's just got such an incredible kick. And I'm going to put it down to the track racing. But she's got the treble. Like the first three stages was just incredible. And it was sort of a weird one. I was obviously frustrated having done so much work, but also, you know, to see someone take the first three stages is quite cool, really.
Into the final few hundred metres as they go through the cut that gives this climb its name, and still Steels continues to ride tempo on the front and make everyone suffer. She's hoping she can possibly hang on. Grinser starts to feel the pinch a little bit, and Knight goes around the outside. There's a little bit of room for her as she goes for a remarkable treble, and Grinser's starting to suffer, can't stay in the wheel. Neither two can Shackley. Steels too, after all her great work, sees that Josie Knight is starting to put some daylight between her as they go to the line. It's going to be a treble. It's a hat-trick for Josie Knight ahead of Claire Steels, Shackley and Natalie Grinser.
I was so nervous this morning. I woke up at about 5 in the morning and I just was having nightmares of the two Fusion girls just counterattacking me until I cracked, and I was suffering a lot in the last kilometre. I mean, Claire Steels was just tramming along the front, and I just wanted it so bad because my teammates had done such a massive job for me.
So Knight scores a remarkable treble, with Steels vanquished again and Shackley and Grinser in close attendance. Knight now has a 7-second lead with Shackley, Grinser, Gallagher and Backstead next up. Grinser's fourth place is enough for her to take over the mountain's lead.